Hello, this is Dr. Sharice Spartman. I am the audiologist at the Hearing and Speech Center, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about some best practices for hearing aid fitting. And one of the things that we always do when we're doing a fitting is real ear measurements. And that's actually when we do a probe tube in the ear canal and we measure what's happening in the ear canal when we put different sounds in. And there's a reason why we want to be able to do real ear measurements, and it's because there's different ear canal volumes. The ear canal will resonate at certain frequencies, and also we want to measure the maximum output when we have the hearing device in the ear canal. So when we're dealing with ear canal volume, that's the amount of space that's in the ear canal. And whenever we measure sound, it's measured in a sound pressure level, very similar to air in a tire. So if you have a truck tire, you're going to need a lot of air, and you might have 40 psi. And if you take a bike tire, you might just need a little bit of air and you could have 70 psi in that bike tire. So it's the same thing with the ear canal. If you have a larger ear canal, you're going to need more gain from the hearing aid than someone who has a smaller ear canal. So we always want to make sure that we're not underfitting someone or not over amplifying someone. The other thing is the ear canal has a resonance, and a resonance is when it naturally amplifies sound. So anytime you have a tube that's closed at one end, that will resonate at a certain frequency. So like when you blow across the top of a bottle and there's water inside the bottle, it will resonate at a certain frequency. Or if you've ever seen anyone playing wine glasses, they use the exact same wine glass, but depending on how much liquid is inside the wine glass, it will change what kind of sound or frequency it resonates at. So typically the ear canal will resonate between 2 and 3,000 hertz, depending on the length of the person's ear canal. And so what can happen is if we're not actually doing measurements in the ear, you can over amplify certain frequencies. And so what we find then is people might complain about certain sounds being too loud, but they can't describe to us maybe what those sounds are. So if we do measurements in the ear, then we know that we're not going to amplify certain sounds too loud for someone. And then the other thing that we're going to measure is the maximum output. So we're going to put loud sounds in through the hearing device, and we want to make sure that we are never over amplifying certain sounds, especially when someone has a hearing loss. What I find is not only are they missing soft and medium sounds potentially of speech, but then they're also going to be sensitive to loud sounds and maybe even more sensitive than I am to certain sounds. And so we want to make sure that we're limiting the output of the hearing device. And so whenever we're working with hearing technology, we're not working with amplifiers where it amplifies everything. We're actually working with a compression circuit that makes soft sounds loud enough and loud sounds tolerable. So we're always going to do measurements in the ear canal. And so then how do we do that? So we actually use ear canal real ear measurement piece of equipment. And not everyone has it. It's an expensive piece of equipment, but it's way too important to measure. So for us at our clinic, we actually do these measurements on everyone that we fit because it's so important with the success rate of how someone does with their technology. So we use a speaker. There's a speaker set up, and then on here is a little reference microphone. So this determines how loud the sound is when it gets to the ear canal. And then there's a probe tube that we put. So we have the hearing aid inside the ear, and then we put a probe tube, and we want to get as close to that eardrum as possible because that's going to be able to tell us where the resonance frequency is. And so that's how we do our measurements. And we're going to put different sounds in. So we typically do speech mapping. So we're going to do soft speech, make sure that's loud enough for someone to hear. We're going to do average sounds and make sure that that's intelligible or understandable, that the person has access to the sounds. And then we're going to measure the maximum output. So thank you so much for listening to our little information about best practices and using real ear measurements for hearing aid fittings. Everyone at the Hearing and Speech Center hopes that you are living your life amplified. Thanks so much for watching.